Willie D Live.
Look at Sharon. Why is Sharon looking like that? Sharon is looking like that because he just blew $13 million having an affair with his assistant, the chick on the right. $13 million over some booty. Family. Oh man, you got to get into this. You got to get into this story. Ex-Michigan coach Sharon Moore remains in police custody under investigation after being fired for inappropriate relationship. Former Michigan head coach Sharon Moore remains in police custody on Thursday after he was fired for calls on Wednesday and then detained by police for investigation into potential charges. Michigan said Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. According to ESPN, no decision on charges is expected Thursday, and Moore is set to appear in court for arraignment on Friday. This is according to Michigan. This is the statement that was released. head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause, effective immediately. Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel said in a statement, following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Dude, you making $13 million. You got a $13 million contract and you messing with a chick that ain't even making six figures. You lose everything to a chick who can't even help you replace your income. Come on, man. Moore, according to Wetzel, was then detained by police in Saline, Michigan, which sits just south of Ann Arbor. On Wednesday night, he was turned over to police in Pittsfield Township for an investigation into potential charges. Moore was eventually taken into custody at the Washtenaw County Jail. Officials said that was done after an alleged assault investigation that took place early on Wednesday afternoon, and that the incident does not appear to be random in nature. Further specifics about the incident or any charges that Moore may be facing are not yet known. Michigan named associate head coach Biff Poggi as the team's interim coach. So here's Moore, 39 years old, who was hired as Michigan's head coach in 2018. And, looked like everything was going great. Looks like everything was going great. He was the Wolverines' offensive coordinator during their undefeated national championship run through the 2023 season. And he was promoted to replace Jim Harbaugh when Harbaugh left to become head coach of Los Angeles Chargers. That made Moore the first Black full-time head coach in Michigan history. And just like that, he blew it. Moore finished 18-8, leading the Wolverines. They went 8-5 during his first season at the helm and just finished a 9-3 run this past season. He won his first two games against Ohio State in their rivalry matchup too, including one in 2023 when he was serving as the interim head coach while Harbaugh was suspended. Ohio State beat Michigan's 27-9 last month. Michigan is set to take on Texas in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl later this month too. Now look, fam. This dude, let's look at the money. Moore had 3 years left on his initial 5-year deal with Michigan, according to USA Today. Michigan paid Moore about $6.1 million for the 2025 season. Woo! His payout earlier this month was just shy of $14 million. But since the school has fired him for cause, The Wolverines will avoid having to pay Moore's buyout altogether. You big dummy. Man, how hard is it, bro, to keep the thing in your pants and pull it out when appropriate? Come on, man, you're 39 years old. By the time a man is 39 years old, he's supposed to know better. Okay, let's take into account that, hey, men mature at a later age and all this kind of stuff, right? But once a man does mature, he's supposed to know better. And by the time you hit those mid-30s, by the time you hit those 30s, but especially in the mid-30s, you're supposed to know all the do's and the don'ts. He's supposed to know better. Come on, man. And you got a wife and kids, and you blow the bag like that. Come on, man. Come on, Sharon. Come on, Sharon, man. How you blow the bag like that? How you blow the bag like that? If you want to mess around, I'm not saying this is a good idea. I do believe that men should do their best and women should do their best to be loyal, be faithful. If you're in a relationship, if you want to cheat, you don't really have to cheat, because all you got to do is just let the person know, look, I'm not with that. I'm not with this. I'm not with you. This is what I'm doing. This is how I get down. You down with that? You cool with that? Yeah, cool. Okay, let's go. You ain't cool with that? Okay, cool. Well, this is what I'm doing. You want to meet with me? This is what I do. It ain't that hard. There's somebody for everybody. If that's the life you want to live. But this dude, just imagine how embarrassing that is for his kids and his wife. Imagine. You did that. I would be, fam, I would just because of how things turn out so often, I would be very cautious. I would be spooked about having an extramarital affair, if I'm a black man, especially with a white woman. I would be extremely spooked. Because here's the deal. I don't know, some of y'all better pull up a chair. I'm going to tell you something I know. First of all, if you have an extramarital affair and you are a prominent person, even if you're not a prominent person, but if you're a prominent person, not only does that person you have an affair with have something on you, they have something on you double, because now you are a prominent figure. And that's a lot for somebody to have on you. Women in general, we've seen enough cases where women have went to the doorsteps of the women who messed around with their men and said, hey, this is what's going on. Women will make that phone call and let you know, you're messing with my man. Even Betty Wright and Shirley, y'all remember that? Shirley called and said, hey, I think it was Shirley was the one who had the man who messing around. Anyway, it was some phone call. The ladies know what I'm talking about. There was a phone call on a Betty Wright record. I think it was, the record was called Woman to Woman. And the woman called to tell the other woman about the fact that she was messing with her man. The women gonna tell on you. They gonna tell. Especially white women. If you black, she gonna pull that card, bro. The moment she figure it out, you don't want to rock with her? You ain't rocking with her no more? Now she finna expose you. So if she expose you, see, he don't have the problem with just having to be confronted by his wife. Because of his position and because of the position that he had over her, the power he had over her, he was He put his job in jeopardy. He put his job on the line for some tail. He put his job on the line. Let me tell you something, fam. Even if it's not written in the bylaws, even if it's not part of your contract, it's not a good idea to have sexual relations with a woman who you work with. That is a bad, bad idea. Even if you're the boss, even if you own the company, it is not a good idea. Now, it's going to be tempting now. It's going to be tempting. Not necessarily for a man who's a man of valor, a man who can hold his own. I'm saying for that woman, because women like bosses. Women like bosses. So, whereas she may not have given you the time of day if you just a regular Joe Blow up the street or whatever, she met somewhere or whatever, but you stroke her checks and you call the shots. It's something that being a boss, it does something to a woman's body. Ladies, feel free to join in. It does something to a woman's body. It gets them in a certain type of mood, and I'll try my best not to be graphic about this, but ladies, you help me out, ladies. I'm trying to get through this right here. Help me out, ladies. But ladies love bosses. Ain't no doubt about it. Ladies love bosses. So if you're the boss, you're going to have action. But here's what you have to be careful about. You got to be careful about the woman turning on you. It can happen easily. It don't matter how innocent it start off, don't matter how sweet she appears to be. I'll give you a case in point. When I first started my record company, the first record company I started, Wise Up Records, I had an office in the Galleria, and this office was live, right? I had it laid out, fam. Man, I had a $5,000 phone system. I spent like $15,000 on the reception area, in the desk and all that stuff. I had a credenza in there worth $8,000, sofa, $10,000. I'm carpet this thick. It's plush. So I'm like, I got to get me a stunner in the front, so when people pass by, So I hired this girl for eye candy purposes, mainly, and she wasn't going to have to do a whole lot, but just answer the phone, be the face, when people pass by, the glass open, you can see straight through as people pass by, they can see you. And it's very inviting, right? So, and it's very impressive when artists come by to visit and things like that, or just business-wise, it's just a good look, right? So the mistake I made was I hired a chick who I had tried to holler at before. Now, she turned me down. It wasn't brutal, but she turned me down. But we stayed in touch. So when I needed somebody to fill that role, I thought of her. Well, I only thought of her strictly for the eye candy purposes, because by this time I'm married and I already know I'm not finna go there with her. First of all, just hiring her, I'm I'm only at this time, I think I'm like 27, maybe 28. But I knew that you don't have sexual relations with people that you work with. It's just a bad idea. Bad stuff happen more often than not. So I already had made up my mind that I wasn't going to try to make no move on her when when she accepted, the job. I already knew. I was like, she off limits. I'm not going to even try to do nothing, right? I already know in my mind, I'm not going there. So I had made it a point that no matter what, I was not going to cross that line. Well, and plus, here's the deal. Yeah, because if you cross that line, now she can come back and say, you did this to her, you did that. She's expecting something that she ain't supposed to be getting, right? And she also holds, if you're married, she holds something over your head where she can call you a woman at any time, right? So I already know that's off limits. Oh, she bad. She totally off limits. So I noticed right away that she is extra nice to me, like being extra nice. She come to bring me the reports on, the radio stations, the radio station reports and the reports for the streets and stuff like that. She bring me the reports, and she standing behind me, trying to brush her breasts on my back and stuff, like against my shoulders. So I'm like, I'm trying to be cool about it and not overreact to it, right? But really, she really on some sexual harassment stuff at this point. She crossing the line. So I shut it down, and then fast forward, she starts to show up to work late. So she show up work the first time late. And I give her a warning because I know you got to teach people how to treat you. So I give her a warning the first time that she show up late. I say, look, you start getting paid at 10 o'clock. When you walk through the door, you don't get paid. I say, you start getting paid when you walk through the door, and your time is 10 o'clock. So if you walk in the door at 10:15, 10:05, 10:30, you're going to get docked. Well, I gave her a warning. And then about 2 weeks later, she comes in late. She's like 30 minutes late. I dock her. She get her check, and she's offended that she was docked. She gets offended. And she gets aggressive. So I shut it down all the way. I fired her and everything. Now imagine if all this would have happened and she had something on me. Imagine what would have happened if I had made a move on her. Imagine how much ammunition I would have given her. Imagine if I had made a move on her, or she made a move on me or whatever, we did something. Imagine what she would have done if I would have fired her. She finna pick up the phone and let my wife know everything that's going on, right? That's what she's gonna do. So my thing is, people already got a gun. Don't give them the ammunition to shoot you.